we are all here in this space to be able to get some knowledge from Brother Bobby Hemmitt on the Mother Goddess power force, ancient prophecy in changing times. But before I bring this brother on, I just want to go over a few house rules that we all need to be in cooperative spirit about. If you have your pager or your cell phone on, please either at this time cut them off or put them on vibrator. If you need to go out to the bathroom, the men's and women's washroom is directly out the door that you came in, across the wall. You should take your ticket that you were given. It was stamped on the back. You should take your ticket with you when you go out into the hallways, because you will need that ticket to come back into the space. The other house rule is that we should not be wandering off throughout this building. We have only secured this space here, so we should just go out into the hall and use the bathroom and come back in, because this building does have security staff, and they will either escort you where you belong or they will escort you out the building. Okay? Can we all be in agreement? All right. So without further ado, I was told that this brother needs no introduction, so I'm not about to stand up here and give him one. He will come in his own way. Brother Bobby Hemmitt, talking about the Mother Goddess force in power, ancient prophecy in changing times. Let's give a round of applause.
All right. Okay. All right. Took 4 years to get back, and now I'm back in a couple of months. That's good. I guess they were saving the best for last. And you know it happens that way too. Because if you can conquer this place, you can pretty much go to the Mars. Now, and that was interesting, because the first time I came, the brother Yoel, he said, look man, I just got to tell you about the people in Chicago. I'm like, man, save it, man. I done been all over this country. You know, I done conquered Harlem and Brooklyn. He said, no, man. He said, no. He said, nobody like these black folks here in Chicago. And he's right. I think you all got the rest of the country beat. And I think that also has something to do with spirit, too. It has something to do with a unique people. And you should always, they say that you can tell the one that the government has more force in and more input in trying to disperse you, trying to discombobulate you, trying to annihilate you, and that is a reason. They study migration patterns. They study migration patterns. They know certain group of people came from Alabama, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? They knew that the New York people, a lot of them came from South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. But you know, you have Georgia and and it's interesting here because when I was in college, I think I knew one person from Chicago when I was in South Carolina. Then I went to Clark Atlanta. That was at Benedict College, a black school in South Carolina, in Columbia. When I went to Clark Atlanta, I met a whole group of people from Chicago. So there's different migration patterns. And I say that to say that the government studies the migration patterns on where certain brothers and sisters either come out of slavery or roots from the Caribbean, and they study this stuff night and day, so they know just exactly what type of brand of Negro that they're dealing with in certain cities. You see, certain cities. It's just like where I'm from in South Carolina. They were real hard on the brothers and sisters from South Carolina because they knew that South Carolina has more black people as a state than any place in the country. You got whole counties of black people that outnumber the whites, but yet the whites win in the elections every year. You know what I'm saying? And all. So that means that they got a certain mentality that they put on a certain Negro at a certain time
But then again, they know that there's also certain talents. Like, like my town, the town I'm from was a small town, Mullins, South Carolina. Everybody in the town has a sense of humor. Everybody, my mama, my grandmother, my aunts, my uncle, everybody in the town has. It's almost like you couldn't survive in the town not unless you had a sense of humor. So it stands to reason that at the same time the crack cocaine was going into big cities, Mullins had an infestation of crack. We talking about over 15, 16, 17 years ago. That meant that the government said, wait a minute, these are a special brand of Negro, because they study not only, they study on the sociological path of what type of Africans doing what type of things. Well, you say, well, why would this little small town, population 6,000, it's not even on the map, why would they have a crack cocaine epidemic the same time the major cities was having it 20 years ago, 18 years ago? When this thing started really hitting, we tracked it back to 1983. Shortly after, like I said, the country didn't really know about it as an epidemic, as a national phenomenon until the basketball player Lenny Bias died in 1986. Was supposed to be going to the Boston Celtics, #1 draft pick, and #1 draft pick, and ended up going up there and getting killed over the summer, smoking some crack, his heart burst or whatever. But at the same time, the town in South Carolina was getting, had a crack infestation. Now this has a lot to do with the science of how they study us. Well, why is all these places, this little town that's not even on the map, would have the same plight as major cities? It is because they have studied the history, and one of the history in the modern age, the 20th century, no other town in South Carolina had a riot the same time the riots was going on in the 1968, was going on, when they killed Martin Luther King and all was going across the country, except this little town called Mullins. So the government said, wait a minute, them niggas was the only one that had a riot at that time, so we're going to send the massacre to that particular part of the state. Another aspect that happened was, white boy wrote the book The Flash of the Spirit. Can't think of the guy's name. Wrote the book The Flash of the Spirit.
Ferris Thompson.
Right. Did some studies and said, well, it's interesting here that a lot of the slaves from South Carolina came from the Congo. That's very key. Now we're going to track this Congo thing because that's very key on a lot of things that's happening right now. This also has something to do with the Rwanda aspect that happened 10 years ago. And all of a sudden you got two movies, Hotel Rwanda, and the one that's airing tonight on HBO. The one that's airing tonight on HBO. What's the name of that? It's called something. What, anybody know?
What is it? What is it about?
It's a Rwanda.
Ghost from Rwanda?
It's something else. Anyway, it's coming on tonight on HBO. So if you people in the lecture, if you missed it, just tune in on Tuesday night. Whatever comes on Saturday night comes on Tuesday night. So you'll be able to catch it on Tuesday night. And then it'll play for the next 6 months. And but anyway, why did this Rwanda thing come out 10 years after the crime? Well, that's another thing. Number one, they never report a lot of incident when it comes to us and the subjects that they rule over in the same century. So because we're in a new century and this happened in the 1990s and the 20th century, it's okay. It's a science that they do. A lot of things has been going on, a lot of reports. You had a Marcus Garvey special that came out. You had a lot of things that normally you would never get in the century that it was in. They had a lot of things coming out on PBS, and a lot of the cable stations also have a lot of documentaries that you normally wouldn't get. The reason why is because we're in a new century, and for some reason, the people who rule over us say you never track the plight of a person in that same century. So this is the way they do it. Unfortunately, it was 10 years before anybody knew about it, as far as the masses. But you already had two aspects of the Rwanda thing. Stay with me because I'm going to go into that at in the middle of the lecture to tell you some other things on the spirit level, which is going on. Because for whatever we have on the physical realm, there's a spiritual realm that is dealing with a certain amount of things. And we're going to get into this incident that just happened in Atlanta last weekend with the guy, what's the guy name of? Brian Nichols, which is nothing but, what you call it, MK Ultra, which is Manchurian Candidate. So we're going to go into that, but it's more than just them saying, well, let's just test it out on this Negro and see will he kill people. No, they've been doing that with the Crips and Bloods, because the Crips and Bloods was put together at Pepperdine University, and they were also in the MK Ultra. So we are finding out why people just all of a sudden start killing. Like in 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks in Philadelphia, they had 18 murders. On the north side. Black on black. That's MK Ultra. You see. Also, starting this past summer, they have had literally dozens of black men raping 80-year-old women. You see what I'm saying? That's MK Ultra. That means that there's a new face of terrorism. We're going to go into this particular part. So, we're going to go into that particular part. You think it's ready for my man to do his thing? You on? You on? Oh, you on? Okay, cool. Oh, you straight then. So, we're gonna pull libations. You want to do that on the tape too? Yes, sir. All right then. Gonna pull libation, and then we're gonna go into what happened. And it's not just. I'm gonna give you the real reason behind it, and track this thing. You see what I'm saying? The real reason. This starts with not only Timothy McVeigh, but here's this other Nichols, Terry Nichols, and you got Brian Nichols. Everything is everything. So we got to give you the key on what's really going on behind why this guy snapped. You see what I'm saying? And went postal all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? You've heard that before. When I had the opportunity when I was in college to work for the post office, and I understand. When I see people shooting each other up in the post office, I don't say a damn word. I say, I know what's going on. Because they say, and then they say, well, they ask the question, they say, well, why did you do it? Why did you go postal? And they say, the mail never stops running. And they're right. The mail never stops running. We would get out a room full of mail, and at 6 o'clock, it would be another room full of mail. So I understood that particular aspect. But there's more than just this guy snapping. We're going to get into that particular aspect. We got a lot of things to cover. I'm going to do my infomercial right now because I got a few things, and first come, first serve. I got a book. Here's a book called The Mask of Darkness, Occult History of Melanin. The Occult History of Melanin. It was a book put together a couple of years ago by myself. Anyway, we were able to get this particular thing out. So we got a few copies of these. The people want to get them. That's only $5 for the book. We have also this particular thing here. Remember I was talking about the Lakshmi, which is also the one you will see here, is also the goddess of prosperity, wealth, as well as a form of Mayat. Is a form of Mayat. But I know everybody needs some damn money. Know what I'm saying? Because as we know, I don't understand how we survive. I mean, you go to the supermarket and you can't even go in there without dropping $40. You know what I'm saying? And that's for some bread and some meat, or two or three sodas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to really do some serious shopping, you know what I'm saying? You got to start at a damn 100. You know what I'm saying? That's just starting. And that's the people who don't have no children. You see what I'm saying? So I know in this warfare, people need some money. There's a science to Think and Grow Rich. The guy had the book Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't a hodgepodge or some type of hocus pocus. There was a science to that based on the mindset. And so here's an affirmation for the goddess Lakshmi, and you recite this affirmation, in the mornings or whenever they say do it, and basically you create a force field around you that attracts money and attracts things. It's just like, you know, it's the same thing happening with sisters. You know, you be looking for a man, but in the process, as time goes on, each day your self-esteem plummets further and further and further into the depths. And so once your self-esteem goes down and you don't have the confidence in yourself, then what happens here, you stop radiating a certain energy that attracts people to you. You understand what I'm saying? That attracts people to you. So you stop radiating that essence. And then you can see somebody and you say, she don't look like shit. How the hell she get a nigga like that? You see what I'm saying? No, the difference is her self-esteem wasn't damaged going into a certain incontinuance. So these are master spiritual laws and certain things that you emit. And you know, it's just like anything else, based on psychology, based on these white folks going and spending thousands of dollars at these seminars, and basically they keep telling them over and over again, it's all based on your thinking, your thoughts. Well, it's the same thing with the money thing also. It's like one of the guys, I think what a rich man tells his son and a poor man tells his son. And he said, and the guy said, I was raised, my mother was with a poor man at first, and then they divorced and she got with a rich man, and he said he knew the difference because as far as his different fathers. He said the poor man would go, we can't afford it, I don't have enough money for that. You see, he said, but the rich father would go, well, even though if they didn't have enough money at the time, he said, let's figure out a way on how we can get that. But the whole concept of we can't afford it, I don't have enough money, never entered into the process of the psyche. So there was a certain way that one father thought. Well, it's the same thing. We're still talking metaphysics. Everything is based on your archetype of the collective unconsciousness, on how you emit things, and how you basically relay your thoughts between the spirit world, which is your deepest part of your subconscious mind, or the physical world. You see, so this particular piece here on Lakshmi is an affirmation. Fortunately, on this particular aspect, there's an actual goddess of prosperity. So you know, you go to Asia and you see they got all these conferences and these books on feng shui. And feng shui is how you situate your house and situate your environment so that you can get a certain amount of flow of energy coming in. Well, the feng shui is a later system. The original feng shui goddess is the goddess Lakshmi. You see, the goddess Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity. We'll show the pictures. This is Lakshmi, and this is Lakshmi, and even this is a form of Lakshmi also, which I'll get into in a few minutes. So anyway, we have the affirmation to Lakshmi also. We got a few dynamite CDs that have a different of the speakers speaking over the beats or the music. The brother named Darren Rice out of Charlotte, North Carolina, put those together, as well as I got a few DVDs and stuff like that, you know, that you could also get. One of them is this Love DVD, which is pretty much a smoker. It's The Mysteries of Love, which is a science of love. Science of love. And I was in St. Louis doing a lecture, and I was breaking down the science of love when this girl came and she said, no, you need to do a whole lecture on that. I said, I've been doing lectures on it for the last 5 years. She said, no, a complete lecture. So one lecture led into two, so we have that, as well as an actual tape on the goddess Lakshmi. So we have those, which leads us to these particular pictures right now that we're talking about here. You have Mayat, which is coming from the sarcophagus. I talked about this the last time. The sarcophagus of King Tut. You got the goddess Mayat. For protection, this is the goddess Kali. Everybody needs a form of Kali for protection. This is an ass-whipping deity. So this is the goddess Kali. This is coming from the ancient Dravidians, or what they call Hindu Kush. So this is actually pre-dynastic Egyptian. Everybody needs to align themselves with some Kali energy. Whenever you are feeling evil, you women, whenever you are feeling evil, don't look at yourself as being negative. That's just a part of your God-given right. That's the Kali energy in you, which means that this is an energy that predates the physical laws of creation. It's a chaos energy that gave birth to creation. So whenever you are feeling like a bitch, that's not necessarily negative. It's just that you have been in a patriarchal society that that praises certain aspects of male psyche, and when it comes to you, suppress those things. You see what I'm saying? So his hero status and warrior status is celebrated in all ancient religions and all ancient cultures, whereas your particular power, when it's time for you to get the bitch and say, I'm gonna put up somebody's behind, that's scorned, vilified, and shunned, because here goes again. That's that double, you see, aspect of someone praising one thing and vilifying another thing. So the goddess Kali is very powerful at this time, and that's and really powerful at this time, because that's what caused the tsunami. I'm going to get into that particular science. We're talking about the mother goddess. The mother goddess. Now you saying, well, this guy is selling these pictures, and I don't know. See, it's a method to my madness. This cost me $200 damn. You see what I'm saying? So I had to go get a rare book that was hid in France, because this is coming from the ancient Dravidian people, and it's a rare book, so I had to pay $200 for the book. But that's how much you will go to get the information to your people. You see what I'm saying? So that's a very rare book. This one is the money maker, because this is without a shadow of a doubt, and we'll show this again on the overhead if you don't see this. This is the Madonna and Child. In this particular case, it's also the goddess Lakshmi holding up either the god Kama, which is desire, or Eros. You know what is Eros or Cupid? It's in Egypt, it's the baby Horus. In Greece, it's Cupid. Eros, and in Rome, it's Cupid. And later on, it's the baby Jesus. And in Hindu, it's the baby Krishna. This is the same aspect of the Divine Mary, but without a shadow of a doubt, that's a sister. If anybody, hold on, let me do this right quick. Cut off them lights right quick. I want to show this. So you don't have no doubt. Cut off all of them right quick. That's a sister. That be a sister. Yes. Look at the thighs, look at the hips, look at the bosom, and look at the dreadlocks, or the locks. You see what I'm saying? So this is without a shadow of a doubt a sister. This has been hidden for years. They hid it over in France. So in so many words, you have the caste system of East Indians. They go, look, we got all the black art of the original Dravidian people that basically is a black origin. We don't want to see that black origin. So what happened was, when England started ruling India, the caste system of the lighter skinned East Indians gave all this to the British Museum, and also to a Museum Guimet in France. So a lot of this is hidden in France. You go to France, there's the Louvre, which is the big museum. This is a smaller museum where all of the stuff was hidden. That's why it cost me $200 just to get this. You see what I'm saying? A picture's worth 1,000 words. So they gave up all of those black, untouchable, original pre-dynastic, what they call Hindu Kush or Indus Kush, which is Ethiopia, which is the people of that original land, or pre-dynastic Egyptian, and this is one of probably one of the oldest ones that we have of the Madonna and Child. You see, hidden in France up until January of this year. You see what I'm saying? When I had to go sift out and get some rare books, and the white boy like, now $200. This came out in 1974. Not in this country. $200. What you gonna do? You see what I'm saying? Y'all all right? So we have this also. All of these are 5 books. You can cut on the light. You can cut on the light because you can cut on all of them. Yeah. We also have, this is the temple of Dendera, which is the goddess Heru, Hathor, which is the goddess Hathor. Well, I'll show that. Which is the goddess Hathor, which is the Egyptian equivalent to the goddess Lakshmi. This is the temple of Dendera. This is the inside zodiac of Dendera that was blown down, is now in the Louvre in France, which is so whenever you get in an argument of whether God, this old male deity shit, this concept here is 90,000 years old. And in the middle of this concept is a hippopotamus deity with breasts, which means it's the great mother. There's nothing that predates this, so the argument, the gig is up with the male patriarchy aspect of God being a man. So once you bring them back, this is 90,000 years old, the concept. And there was an older temple in ancient Egypt there was an older temple in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, that when they was getting ready to build a modern temple of Dendera, they had a papyrus inside of the crack of the wall. And basically the papyrus gave the complete dimensions of all the hieroglyphics of Netta that was on the older temple. So basically they just built a new fortified temple based on the structure in stone, but the hieroglyphics and the concepts and the motifs were 90,000 years old, as Gerald Massey puts it. Book of the Beginning, Volume 2. As a result, this zodiac is the oldest that we know known to man, but in the middle of that is the woman. You see. So this is blown down. This is in France. This is the inside of the temple of Dendera that you'll be able to see. And you'll be able to see. Now, the temple of Dendera, Heru, every summer, there's a grand procession and a marriage goes on with the Egyptian Christ, Horus Heru. Horus Heru. Every summer, they marry these two temples. So the new rendition is the temple of Horus Heru. And they marry these two temples. And they have a grand procession where one leaves, I think that one comes out of the temple of Horus, and procession goes into the temple of Dendera. This is the temple of Horus at Edfu, and they marry these two temples, which also is symbolic of the sacred spiritual marriage. So also you want to get some good romantic aspect, then you hook up and get the second part of this for the people who got the Dendera and have the whole set, because it's a sacred marriage going on. This is the goddess Lakshmi that I said the last time. We only had this particular picture of her voluptuousness at that particular time that was drawn from the Museum Gummi. I have a Gummi. I have the sister that's been hooked up with me for years is the sister Kimberly. She's a French major, so she said Gummi. And all that. I said it says Gourmet. G-U-I-M-E-T, Gourmet. She said, no, that's Gourmet. So, okay then. We only had this rendition, so I had to go, and the 200, so in order to get the real stuff from this museum, I finally found the real statue of the same Lakshmi of the Museum of Geme. This is the new one, the real statue of the same Lakshmi. We found this. The last time I came with this one, since this in January, I was able to locate this, and this is all coming from the same Museum of Geme. They gave you this Kali, this Madonna and Child, and also this Lakshmi. This is the drawing I only had. And this one was a small picture in a book, in a satanic book. They put the satanic thing to keep you out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's a code. You want to hide something? Put it in the devil. Them niggas so scared. You send your kids to people, to be educated every day to people who don't mean you no harm, but you're scared of a fictitious figure. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so this one was hidden and I had to blow this one up. So you have to go, it's a form of anthropology. You have to go far in beyond to get to actual things, to retrieve these things. So I only had this one, but we was able to find this one. Also here again, the temple of Kalamajo in India, where they have these particular people making love. Like I said, we didn't see any pictures of this one, only from the 1960s. And there finally became a couple of books out now. They cost a lot of money. Where they got this temple where they just make love, and it's just thousands of statues. But they don't want to show you these statues because they don't want you to see black men and women embracing in love. So we talked about this the last time at Kalamajo. You can get a rendition of that temple. They made a movie called Kama Sutra back in 1995 or 96. And you can see the Kalamajo is there. And also, this is also coming from that. And last but not least, this is the temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, which we'll be focusing on today, because there's a lot of stuff coming out of that. The prediction of the tsunami, black people going into slavery, the slave ships, all recorded on this temple of Vietnam, which gives you the key on why they really fought that war in Vietnam. And it has a lot to do with the temple of Angkor Wat, which is the size of 2 Manhattans. An entire temple that is built that is the size of 2 Manhattans. That makes it the biggest temple in the world. You see what I'm saying? Where the entire Khmer, ancient Cambodian civilization, lived in the temple. And it was the size of 2 Manhattans. And also, we'll get into this type of thing, but here's another one that was the jungle covered it up and they didn't want people to see what was actually going on. So these are some actual pictures and things that we got, that we retrieved, that you can also have access to when we go to the break or whatever. Now, moving right along, what's that? What's that? Oh yeah, right. Okay, that's a good idea. You right on it.
Devil told me to.
Yeah, okay, right. All right. A lot of times, you'll be in your house and you just start feeling bad. You don't know what it is. You just have these negative feelings, and you go, wait a minute, my gas didn't get cut off. My children didn't go to jail. You can't figure out why you're feeling these negative feelings because nothing is wrong in your life. But there's these negative feelings that you'll come down with, and you don't understand what's going on. That is because there's negative spirits that's in your dwelling place or in your house. Well, the first thing here is to eliminate most negative spirits, you must clean your home. Because the negative energies and the negative spirits, they hang around filth. And they hang, even if you say, well, I'm not filthy, I'm just a pack rat, they even hang around clutter. You ever cleaned up a room and just, I'm not talking about filth. That's the difference. That's the low end. But I'm talking about, we as black people are consumers, we tend to collect a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, you just say, I can't take it no more. And you'll just start cleaning up. And you'll clean up. And then all of a sudden, things become peaceful and serene. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first aspect to deal with your particular dwelling space. The other aspect is this. 90%, a lot of times, when you get sick, it is because there's a spirit in there that's a sick spirit in your house. You see what I'm saying? In these force fields, there's a sick entity in your house. And you will become sick. And a lot of times, if you just clean up and banish that, you might, the forces within you or the forces around you might gather up enough energy to start healing you. So I'm not talking, so we want to bring this to a level that you understand this on a level that maybe our grandparents wasn't able to tell you scientifically, but they were right on time. Because as soon as you stopped doing what they said, that's when you got fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's when you got messed up. There are certain things. What you think? Your boy had, what, thousands of patents. George Washington Carver. All coming from the spirit realm. You see what I'm saying? You just know it. You see, there's force fields. There's a reason, even when it comes to this, there's a reason why they made these. You see this voluptuous statue? I have an overhead projector at my house. The other day, I took this overhead and put it on the wall in the living room with this temple I got built to latch me in the front room. All of a sudden, me and the goddess start bumping and grinding and damn near kill ourselves. Okay, it's our 1 year anniversary of being together. You thinking, hell, that's the time when the juice starts to peel off. We was up in there damn near about to kill ourselves, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it's because we projected a certain amount of energy that brought a certain amount of sexual energy in the dwelling place, and damn near broke some vessels and everything else. You see, damn near needed some crutches and some harnesses and shit. So there's certain energy and force fields that scientifically there's things around you that can help you, and you still relying on the physical aspect. Which means is that the white boy is going to tell you that his science, what will happen is, let me explain to you. These white boys, after they went into Hemmitt in the late 1700s with Napoleon, and they started carting out thousands of artifacts and put them around Europe. Then they had several conferences. And these people came in after they translated hieroglyphics, which was a brother from Chicago, a black man, who actually was the one who translated the hieroglyphics. And after they did that, they were able to come up with tons of mysteries in the late 1800s and early 1900s, and they would say, hold off. Don't present this to the public. And what they would do is they would take 40, 50 years, even sometimes 100 years, just to come up with their physical science way to explain something that they knew from our black science 150 years ago, 120 years ago. They say, no, we gotta wait. We can't put the real aspect of this science out. We have to wait until we come up with our own methodology based on our way that we present science to the world. And therefore, you say, goddamn, that white man is brilliant. He just comes up with all kinds of stuff. And he had the real knowledge 50 years. 70 years before, but wouldn't present it until he found painstaking ways to come up with this in his methodology. Therefore, to put you under mind control and think that he's synonymous with technology. Yes. You see what I'm coming from here? So they will hold on to things until they find a way in their methodology to explain it. And they had these things before the turn of the century. Before the turn of the 20th century. You see what I'm saying? But they held on to these things because the key is to make you think that in actuality he's superior. And you are not. But that same science that they found out, your fucking grandmama and them was doing the same shit. And you ask them, they say, I don't know, I just know. I just know. You understand where I'm coming from here? So we're talking about this type of science that you have to tap back in, but you got to have confidence. You see, you got to have confidence. And you must fight against your left brain mentality. Or what we say left brain prison, those particular people that was educated in the West. To think that if somehow my education is superior over that which is black and over that which is indigenous, it has to have this white element in it. And this is the inferiority that happens when you become educated, which is trained, which has nothing to do with any type of knowledge anyway. The point I'm trying to make here is we have to tap back into the science that has to do with what we think of love. Now, what do you mean by that? You think of profound things every day, but you just dismiss it because you didn't hear the general society say it. You understand what I'm saying? So there's things that you knew was right. You had these epiphanies every day, but you dismiss it. So I'm just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then 10 years down the road, you see some shit on TV and you were like, oh shit, I thought about that 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we have to come out of this. We have to condition our mind because we are the ones that's slated at this particular time to take this to the other level. You understand what I'm saying? Take this to the other level. Now, going back to what I was saying, there's these particular spirits. The first thing we want to do is you want to get a certain amount of negative energy around you. Well, the first thing you got to do is this here. Cut yourself off from negative people. And we got a lot of negative black people. You know what I'm saying? You know, put down your shades. You know, they might knock on your door. First of all, make a rule. Damn a nigga, it's cell phone time now. Damn a nigga come to your house unannounced. Put down your window. Be quiet. Don't answer the phone. Do what you got to do to cut yourself off from people. I got a homeboy. He come over, and the next thing we gotta go and we gotta go check out the echinacea, the vitamin C. I gotta go take some colon cleanser, some senna tea. I gotta clean out. Because when he comes up in there, you literally get sick. You got humans like this. Y'all all right? This is serious stuff. This is warfare. And it's, in the warfare, a lot of times, it's not the miraculous thing that's going on with the government. It's in your own community, and it's with your own people, because we were made slaves. We were made savages. We are savage people. Why you say that? I'm telling you that black people now, we're at the worst point that we've ever been. What I mean by that is, we used to have an extended hand or an extended community. I just had a movie that came out, a month ago, Lackawanna Blues, to celebrate a black woman that helped everybody in her life, all of the misfits, which in so many words was a microcosm of the black community in the 1950s, the 1940s, the 1960s. You understand what I'm saying? Because before we became this postmodern society, whereas I don't want to know you. You know what I'm saying? Because knowing you mean you might come and knock on the door and want to borrow some shit at the wrong time. And it's gotten that bad. You know, it's savage. You know, it's about like the movie Road Warrior. You see these movies of the future where you got to hide the gasoline because they got these zombies and stuff. They coming and they want to kill everything. This is what's happening now. So the Omega Man, Night of the Living Dead, Road Warrior, where they stealing gas and killing each other. We're doing that now. You see what I'm saying? In this civilized, barbaristic way. You know, I meet a group of people up the street. They there a year. I just so happened to start talking to them one day because the human side of me pops out. I start talking to them one day. We have a conversation about 30 minutes. And that night, this nigga knocking on my door trying to borrow some goddamn money. I said, man, all I got is $4. That'll do. I gave him the $4. Never got it back. Nigga come back 2 weeks later trying to borrow more money. I said, I know it's only $4, but it's the principle, nigga. You just borrowed this shit from me. But it's not necessarily the $4. It's just that I only met that guy that day. He don't know me that well to knock on my damn door and ask for a cup of rice. You see what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to say it's this larson-hearted, zombie-like type of thing. We can't even trust our people. There's a flaw in all of our characters. We are fucked up, and it ain't got nothing to do with no white man. You know what I'm saying? And no matter how much we glorify it, we have slipped to the lowest level You know what I'm talking about. Because 98% of the complaints you doing is them niggas in your doggone neighborhood that you know.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? There are alternatives though. I'm not talking about doom and gloom. I'm not talking about doom and gloom, and I'm not talking about we got to come together and give you a whole lot of feel-good shit that ain't going to work. There are alternatives. You just got to look for the spiritual alternatives. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of these negative energies. So first of all, you got to cut yourself off from the negative people. Like when my homeboy rolled up. He rolled up the last 2 weeks. Yo, man, I'm trying to take y'all out to get something to eat. And he called my brother. Yo, man, I'm trying to take him out to get something to eat. I'm like, no, man, we be hiding from this Negro because we already know the last time I went to get something to eat and stuff, I had to go overtime just to not come down with something. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how negative he is. You know, candles start burning black smoke. He go to my brother's house, the babies, he step in the house and he got some little boys. And next thing you know, they jumping around, swinging off the light bulbs and trying to kill each other. All because of this Negro entered into their house. So you got to cut yourself off from people like that. The second thing here is you want to get some stuff like this, because there's some negative forces in your house. You got some stuff in your house, just to be on the safe side, you need to get some shit. When you put this down in your house, whatever negative got to get the hell out. There's some stuff. Did you go and get some? You found some yet?
Told me she put it in her house.
She went and got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. After the tsunami, there's a whole lot of powerful energy, but it was some negative stuff and stuff. So I went down and there's this sister, you know, she's big time Christian, but she know her shit now. You know, speaking the Christian vernacular, I'm blessed, I'm this, I'm that. You know the whole 9 yards and stuff like that, and all quoting scriptures while she wanking and stuff and reading out scriptures and stuff like that. But she know her stuff. That's why you get the movie Lady Killers. Movie Lady Killers with Tom Hanks and one of them Marlon Wayans and them. And they went to the old black woman's house and tried to drill through to a tunnel to a casino that they could go and steal out of the casino, but up under the ground that was in her house. And everything was going cool until they decided to take her out. And everybody involved with that, when they tried to take that old black woman out, everybody involved ended up dying. Because she had a shrine in the house. She used to talk to her husband every day, who was this preacher that died 20 years before her, but she had it all set up. And although she might not have known it, but she was doing the rituals all the time. And when they fucked with that old black woman, everybody in the movie died. Now here, this white boys made this, the Coen brothers, so what do they mean? They know what time it is, they know your power. So now, there's some stuff you can get that this woman told us to get, and whatever it is, because we know when you put it in your house now, some people have hardwood floors, but if you don't, I know a lot of you got carpet, but you got some space in your house, either your kitchen or your bathroom, or something where you can mop something. Just wherever you can mop some shit. And you put this stuff that's called Creolin, C-R-E-O-L-I-N, C-R-E-O-L-I-N. General purpose cleaner. No, general purpose cleanser. 3 tablespoons makes a quart. You can get a little small one, and you can go on the internet and get a big quart. But they sell this stuff. I know they sell it at Botanicas, the little places all around it. You can find this stuff right here in Chicago. You want to get it's called Creolin, C-R-E-O-L-I-N. You put that in your house, and whatever's in there negative got to get out. And we got hardwood floors, so it smells like damn permanent magic marker. And you know, because you spiritual people been burning sage. That shit don't work for them damn real deal negative spirits. That's all right for your body and stuff like that. But we talking about if you got some real stuff. Cause see, some of these spirits you got to understand, these things will make you sick and you don't understand why you coming down with things. Your body has the ability to cure and heal everything on the planet. Any kind of cancer, any kind of whatever. Any kind of government stuff that they got out. Your body can heal any of that, but the environment is where it gets its force from. You see what I'm saying? And that environment can actually impede and intrude upon your spiritual vessel or the spiritual aura that gives off this particular energy. So when you put this Crayola, we put this thing down, and the first thing started happening. A spirit turned over the candle. Spirit slammed the damn door. And our house is spiritual. We got one of the high-end aspects of the shit we be doing is spiritual. But that lets you know, if my house, which is a vessel for the spirit realm, the spirits come and dwell up in there, if this can happen to me, what you think is going on in your cubby hole? See what I'm saying? You know, that's why you figure, you know, so, you know, I had a beautiful wedding. I don't know why it didn't last but 2 months. Think about this. They got a poor person divorcing. Every 5 seconds, somebody's divorcing somewhere on the planet. Especially in European society, there's a divorce going on. And most people in European society, Western culture, gets married by some ritual that was given to them by the general Western culture. Now you think about this. You got a ritual that you got married up under that 1,000 people shared the same ritual, which is backwards. And you give your vows and all this stuff here, and then you find out when your stuff, you either living in hell with the person. You know, some of you don't divorce, you just live in hell with the person. Or you know, it's like Sly Stone said, you know, I stayed with my girlfriend 6 years and got married and then stayed together but 6 months. It was because the ritual that he went through, which is the backwards. Sperm travels up the fallopian tube and gets fertilized to eggs. Not the woman traveling up her own central system. It's backwards. But then again, you know, the European man always tried to copy the woman. You know, there's a lot of books on that. Even the Great Cosmic Mother talks about that. Even Diop hits on it in Cultural Unity, on how, you know, it was they saw the women bleeding, and so the European man would cut himself down there so he could bleed every month. Because, you know, blood was everything to them. You know, they ate all the bloody, you know, 90% of their meat was bloody, you know, in the caves and in barbarism. So therefore, they, you know, so the whole concept was to copy the woman. You see, so this marriage ritual, you see what I'm saying, is a reverse thing. Now, that's your high-end scientists and your popes and your people in the Christian society that put together the general marriage for European societies, where the woman travels up her own fallopian tube to fertilize her eggs. And the man is sitting up in there like he's the egg. You see what I'm saying? So the ritual is all backwards in the first place. That's why when these two temples get married, the people come out of the Horus temple, Heru's temple, the masculine temple, and then go into the feminine temple of Dendera. You see what I'm saying? And they unite these temples. That's in a book called The Daily Life of the Egyptian Gods. M-E-A-K-S, Meeks, I know it's the last name of these two people. It's still in print. Y'all all right? Yeah. So now, when you put this Crayola down, whatever it is has to get up out of there. Then you want to take a spiritual bath. Well, I told you about the spiritual bath before. This is a new one you want to take. This is some stuff called, and it's made right here in Chicago. You might have heard of it. It's called Dr. Pryor's 7 Holy Spirits Hyssop Bath Oil. Anybody heard of that? Yeah. Dr. Pryor's 7 Holy Spirits Hyssop Bath Oil. You want to get in, you want to take a spiritual bath with that. You see what I'm saying? After you clean your house. You know, after you clean your house. You know. Or another thing too, once you clean your house, try to take you some Centipede or some Smooth Move or something and try to clean yourself out also. You know, so there's ways, but I'm going to put that stuff down. Y'all all right? Okay, moving right along. Let me get my thing and we can go into the libation right quick. We can go into a libation and then we can go into the information and what's really going on behind this thing that went down, which has nothing to really do. I'm not trying to explain to you why this guy went on a rampage and killed people. Hell, we've been doing that for years. We're not talking about that, but what we're dealing with now at this particular time is I want to try to explain to you what's really going on behind that. What is behind that? And what is the government doing? You see what I'm saying? And what is the government doing? Yeah, so I usually get a whole water. You see on the tapes, I be sweating and stuff, and I get a whole, people have to bring me a wad of, toilet paper, whatever, paper napkins, but I got a new sister in my life, so, which is, I'm not used to motherfucker packing my bags and shit. She really done took over, packed my bags, packed my clothes, and she got the rag up in here and stuff like that. You would think that would be a servant. You know what I'm saying? She doing all this obedient stuff, and then we get in the supermarket, and a can of coconut milk somewhat falls out the basket and hit me on my big toe. So I look at her in pain, and I told her, you supposed to take this little flap, with a child sitting, you supposed to take this flap and put it up. So I kind of did it a little too hard. I said, you supposed to take this flap and put it up. And she went off on a nigga up in the damn supermarket. I'm looking and saying, this is the same one that she went up on a nigga in the supermarket. Everybody, big time day where everybody off from work and everybody in the supermarket see this mug go off on a nigga up in there and stuff. What can you do? You know what I'm saying? So I get mad and go off on the damn guy that's checking the, he just so happens to be a guy that's the cashier, and I don't go up on this nigga because I can't say nothing to her. You know what I'm saying? And stuff, but this little thing here done came out because I done fucked around and crossed a rule that I was supposed to be doing and all. So, it's like, she can do all this one work, but I can't say nothing to her now. You know what I'm saying? Ain't none of that type thing. And when I do, I have to slow down and preface myself on how I'm going to get this information out that I want to convey to her, because I know if I get the wrong emphasis on the wrong thing, she going to go off on a nigga. You see what I'm saying? And so, like they say, you don't teach mama nothing. So that's that whole feminine thing and all that kind of thing here. So, and clean up everything, but, just clean up everything. I'm not used to having a bowl, eat out a bowl, and then the next minute later I go and look and the bowl is gone because she done took it in there and stuff. But it's interesting, I can't never find shit though. That's the most amazing thing. You can't find nothing. So, it's just, I'm still getting used to this thing after a year. Or somebody waiting on your hand and foot and all like that and all. But then again, on the other hand and stuff like that, I have to walk real quiet around that motherfucker too now. Don't let nobody fool you now. I have to walk real quiet, and I have to, slow down and say, can you, after she done made it quite clear, you better not say shit to me about nothing. Now you can come and suggest and we can have a line of communication. We can negotiate, but it's like the slave master. You better mind your damn tone. So that's the way shit goes. Y'all alright? Alright, let's go into the libation right quick. And get a room to energy so we can go on and explain what's really going down. But just remember, this is not to give you this gloom and this dismal thing that you're supposed to be scared and run out of the country, you know what I'm saying, and go hide somewhere. Remember, the only reason why the white boy is gearing up his offensive is because he's in trouble. And he knows it. You see what I'm saying? They know the signs of their end before you, but they'll still build buildings and still tell you about the future and put you in a catechism of impossibility Because they, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the way they rule, is to never let you think that their time is up, but their time has been up. You see what I'm saying? Their time has been up. All right, so let's pour the libations. Let's give some of the energies some, you know, like I said, they don't want no water, they don't want no flowers, they want some juice. You know what I'm saying? And all, you know, they want some of this good stuff. This is Palo Viejo, which is real deal stuff, which is made, which is distributed. It's from Puerto Rico, but it's distributed right here in Illinois. So, you know, so this is the good stuff. All right. Okay. When you get sick, this is the kind of stuff you need to be doing. This is the type of stuff you need to be doing. All right, y'all ready? Okay. Omagumu. Owalensu. Shumala. Okicha. Tiacha. Sheola. Alcala. Locayo. Kakumbo. La Lila. I need some halala shades. Ista, Manu, Noku, Mana, Inmatu, Titi, Juba, Jova, Exantes, Casimbo, Nisala, Isala, Albilukea, Pazuzu, Lutma, Numaresh, Babylonia, Ayo, Emelec, Dragon, Notorio, Monu, Nepsu, Nitu, Yahalo, Pele, Lakshmi, Vishu, Rabini, Hemmitt, Panama, Rudra, Shiva, Kali, Brahma, Savadi, Durga, Pravadi, Uma, Rama, Krishna, Vidya, Ganesha, Hanuman, Vayeda, Dumuzi, Ten Mahavadayas, Tara, Kalima. Hold on 1 minute. We're going to get some things. We also access your Native American spirits. I talked about that the last time. That's very key at this particular time to make that bridge with the whole Native American thing also too. Mama Shola, Mama Pasha, Keeshka, Coco Mama, Leoa, Kosiku, Axia, Sipiu, Siasio, Junawita, Astama, Alata, Maka, Asaladini, Shuganade, Brigida, Segu, Keku, Haniel, Keku, Tarek, Degin, Hanai, Arum, Aduma, Joe Harris. This is came from the sister right here in the front row. Artemis, right here in the front row. Divana gave me these and all, and you got it from the spirit world, and they panned out too. They also panned out too, and there was one on here with the name of Artemis, and then when I got a reading, it said that you was a form of that. You see what I'm saying also too, so this is how things go. We are the God's returning. I'm going ahead of myself, but in actuality, you are not a subordinate figures. As a matter of fact, a lot of you might feel lost is because you don't realize that there is no one over you. A lot of you all are the primordial entities, are the primordial entities that are to return. And the people who studied these ancient mythologies and the ancient